Welcome back to RT Chats, the channel where we talk about all the latest sports news. And today we're back talking about rugby. Before we start the channel, before we start this video, uh, we'd like to ask you to join us on Super Brew. The link will be below in the comments, where we will be predicting all the matches of the Rugby World Cup. And we also have a Premier League Super Brew if you can join that as well. Um, Last week was kind of crazy when it came to upsets and just in general decisions being made by coaches. I mean, 7-1 split for South Africa is a bunch of crazy stuff.
Also, another thing to look at is the referees.
Yeah,
which
definitely. This point we'll bring up a bit later.
It's quite interesting, I must say.
We have a take on that which I think should be taken up seriously by World Rugby about consequences for refereeing. But let's start off with just commenting on each game. England, Fiji.
We
What an
started on the
upset.
21st to the 27th of August last week.
Yeah.
So, England, Fiji steal the win.
Honestly, if I was England rugby right now, I'd be so embarrassed. I mean, if your players can't tackle, for
Owen
one,
Farrell.
Owen Farrell, and then they had another red card. I'm not sure. Was it Polo got? I'm not sure who got the
I'm
next
not
red
sure,
card.
but
But tackling is the basics. I mean, you get taught from school level to tackle low, and they lost. They
their
didn't.
discipline is just not good enough. Going into the World Cup, if they play the way they play, they're going to get grouped and they're not good enough.
Exactly. At the moment, Fiji's going to group. They're in the same pool.
I'm not sure,
I'm not sure,
honestly.
but from the teams that are in the pool, I think they might get grouped because they just seem not to have any answers at all. So yeah, not much to say about that except for 32-12. But anyway, moving on to Scotland, Georgia. I thought Scotland was going to run away with that game. I mean, the score kind of says 33-6, so you think they ran away with it. But that
But that
first
first
half,
half was horrible.
Georgia put them under pressure a lot, and I think that just shows you in the South Africa game as well. You know, if you put pressure on your opposition side, they're gonna make mistakes, and that's exactly what happened to Scotland in the first half. And then they just regathered themselves and put up a good score. I love the brand of rugby they're playing.
Yeah, I must say, even though it's not the best result for Scotland, I still rank them very highly, and I think they'll still come back and do very well. So
Yeah,
I see them making it out of the group between South Africa and Ireland.
and they have my favorite fly off in the whole world, Finn Russell. I rate him the highest, honestly. One of the best fly offs. He kicks great. He attacks the line. He's got
Very
so
well
much
com-
skill.
Very well composed.
Exactly. He's
He
always
knows
so
what he's
calm.
gonna do.
So very impressed by him. We're also gonna bring out a video later on where we're gonna do a fantasy league, and in there, Finn Russell's actually rated one of the highest players, one of the best players. But we'll get to that at a later stage. Italy, Japan.
You know, the thing is, Japan's rugby is just really not good enough at the moment. I mean, they had their little stint of greatness,
Yeah.
and that honeymoon phase is coming to an end, and I just don't see them being good enough.
Lots of questions there because they're also really investing a lot into rugby at the moment, buying lots of players from overseas who can play in their leagues. So you'd think their level of rugby would be going up, but it's really not. I mean, Michael Leach came back from injury again. He played a
Yeah.
great game, but apart
I
from his
heard
performance,
didn't he go to Japan?
yeah, I believe so.
And then,
So
to have world class players, I think Barrett, Aaron Smith, Billy LaRue was there.
JC Creel, Faf de
So
Klerk,
Malcolm Marks.
Malcolm Morstead, lots of South Africans there.
Yeah.
But great players playing there.
And they
The-
still can't get their rugby to the level it should be.
Italy is an easy side, as we've seen in the last year or something. They've really stepped up their game.
Yeah, I mean, if you
They-
look, they beat Romania 57-7 the week prior. So,
Exactly, and their fullback is exceptional. It's this young, well, he plays fullback, halfback. He plays wings as well. Really great. I can't remember his name now, but he's absolutely fantastic. So their level's gone up, but Japan should have competed more. I don't think 42-21 is a score Japan would have wanted or that you'd expect from that game.
Yeah.
Then very exciting, Ireland Samoa.
Put it out this way. What a trash game.
Ireland played horribly. I mean, they didn't exactly have a full-on A side, but But
Their
still,
their B side should win by 20, in my opinion.
exactly. They didn't
Samoa
have.
is not the team to lose by to win by only 4 points.
And if you look at the way Samoa played, they were really playing brilliant rugby. I mean, they looked so good. And the only thing that really kept them from winning was small little handling errors, discipline, things they got to really sharpen up before the World Cup. And from Ireland, I take this as a wake up call before the World Cup, because if you're going to perform like that, they're going to get grouped by Scotland and South Africa for sure.
Yeah, definitely. There isn't a way they're making it out of the group if they play like that. It's just not happening.
Yeah. France, Australia, well, kind of expected.
Expected, but like Australia literally get your rugby into form again.
Yeah, what is happening?
It's
From
horrible.
firstly, we didn't do a squad reaction on this, but excluding your experienced players like Cooper and Cooper, and um, before World Cup, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go into a World Cup with completely new players.
Some people might say it's brave. I would say it's just plain stupid
It
by
is
Eddie
stupid.
Jones.
I
And I don't see it working out for him. I wouldn't be surprised if Australia gets grouped. I mean, they're horrible. They can't win a single game for the past weeks.
Yeah, exactly, for a long time. So embarrassing from an Australian point of view. France is still playing the rugby they've been playing for a long time. Although I feel like they are starting, there's small gaps starting to form in the
Yeah,
game. They're
it's
not
like,
performing that completely faultless game each time.
I mean, also you got to look at, okay, France has a couple of injuries coming through now.
Mm.
I think one of the centers got injured.
Yeah,
and then
fly
another
off.
another guy that other day got injured as well. So they have a lot of injuries coming
Yeah.
right before the World Cup, which is not good for them, and I'm not happy for them.
And I feel like they peaked at the wrong time. They really went through where they were in the world for a while. Ireland took over and they were still competing, and now they're dropping down a bit. They're not performing at a great level anymore.
Yeah.
South Africa, New Zealand. On Super Brew, I predicted New Zealand by 7. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
I predicted New Zealand by 13, I think.
Yeah, and us being South Africans ourselves, I mean, we thought it's a bit of an experimental squad we're putting in, and New Zealand's putting in a complete A side. That was the best team New Zealand could have put in.
And then when they came in with a 6-1 split, like in the last 2 hours, I'm like,
That's
we're done for.
7-1.
That's 7-1. We
Exactly.
are so done for.
And then, by some miracle, I don't know what happened. Rassi must have had I don't know how that guy's head works, but somehow he talks to players and they just switch on and they play a beautiful game. I almost faultless from South Africa.
Yeah, no.
Not faultless,
No,
but
okay,
it
I'll
was
go
really
out
good
and say
performance.
7:35. South Africa were average. South Africa should have won. Should have at least gotten more than 50 points. I don't think the performance was worth what they got. So I think they were average. There were too many mistakes. They should have capitalized. There was a point when New Zealand had 13 players, or for over 10 minutes, and we could only get like 7 points out of that.
That is true. And then in the first 20 minutes, we were in the 22 the whole time, and we didn't score. But we also do have to remember it is New Zealand. Even though they didn't play great on the day, it stays New Zealand, so there are tough times, tough side to score against.
The thing is, if we had 2 yellow cards, South Africa,
New Zealand,
we would have been 60-10.
Yeah,
they would have ran away with the game by 50 points, which South Africa needs to learn how to run away with a game.
Yeah, which you really get momentum and absolutely just
and keep that momentum and go.
Exactly,
and go.
Put on a score like New Zealand would against Japan or whatever, 105-0, really send a message.
Another thing, Mapimpi, not good enough. He is just not good enough to wear that 11 shirt for South Africa. The way he threw away the ball a couple of times, he always does it every single week. He's just not good enough anymore.
He's not on the right level at all.
And then players that I'm not a fan of, like Sia Khaleesi, very good game.
Yeah.
Andre Esterhuizen, what a beast.
Fantastic game.
What a beast.
I must say, man of the match going to Damien Willems. I know we have our opinions on him. Look, he didn't play a horrible game, but definitely don't think he deserved the man of the match. His performance didn't stand out at all to me.
Yeah,
The whole team contributed, but I think man of the match could have gone to someone else.
yeah, I would say if Peter Stifter didn't get the yellow, maybe him, Andre Esterhuizen, or maybe even Sia Khaleesi.
Or Kenan Moody as well. He played a
Yeah,
great game.
I mean, I'm not sure, but it's what it is. Doesn't really matter.
Tough. In Australia, Portugal.
This is Australia A to keep in mind.
Australia. Oh wow, yeah. Okay.
So to be fair, I didn't watch the game.
Exactly. Didn't watch it, and that's to be expected.
I'm not going to comment on it.
No.
I'm just going to skip right past it.
You'd actually expect Australia to win by further.
Yeah, I mean,
Usually, but yeah. Argentina, Spain also very much expected score. Didn't watch much of that game. I saw a couple of highlights. Argentina playing the usual nice running game in broken play. Argentina XV, I'm guessing that's their B side.
yeah, you
Playing
know
against
how we
Chile?
have South African A, which is
Okay.
our very B side. I think that's
That
the
makes
same for
sense.
Australian A and then Argentina XV. So
But
that's why I
close,
think the scores are so bad. So
close game though for
yeah,
Chile to fight against, even though it's a B team of that nation.
yeah,
Putting up a close score is a good battle for them. It's good prep for the World Cup.
yeah. I must say, good performance. But yeah, I actually think Argentina has, with that 62-3, I actually could see them making it very far into the World Cup. And when I say far, I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the finalists from that side of the.
Absolutely, definitely should be making quarters. Um, they just got to work on their discipline and make sure they're clinical at the right times and not through bad discipline throw the game away at the end. When the game is close and there's lots of pressure, not to lose that 3 points because of stupid mistakes. I mean, if Lavanini gives away a penalty or whatever, you can't afford that in a World Cup. So they just got to work on that, and then I think they'd be amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Refereeing, that point we said we'd come to. So this is more of a, let me just scroll up here. A point I wanted to make on the South Africa Wales game. Now this is I know South Africans complain about referees all the time.
way too much, honestly.
But in this case, it's not necessarily just things being blown against us,
Yeah,
but also for us. That try that Moody scored, in quotation marks,
the penalty try.
penalty try, which he completely overran. I don't even think he actually touched the ball, and
He
then
didn't. It went past his shoulder,
and then
and then the guy hit it.
and then you got a penalty try and a yellow card for that. I think that was
I think
a
that's
horrible decision.
disgraceful refereeing.
If your TMO, your referee, and your two on the line can't make a good decision about that, I don't know.
And
this
the
before
amount of
World Cup.
times they went up to review every single movement of that try, angle,
Exactly.
and they still couldn't get the right
And they
decision.
still get it wrong. And that's worrying before the World Cup, because if you're gonna make bad decisions like that in a final, it's not gonna go well. So from World Rugby side, I think definitely there needs to be looked at refereeing. And I think the point I want to make now, idea I want to share, is just the way like players get penalized for making mistakes, for causing penalties. I think it should go the same. The same should count for referee. So if a referee makes really bad decisions,
They should get a
it
ban.
does happen. Exactly, they should get a ban, or instead of being, let's say, you have this amount of matches that you get to be the main referee, you get 2 matches that you have to be the TMO, or you get downgraded.
Or
Because you can't have those mistakes in high level games, especially with World Cup coming up now. So I think there should also be consequences for referees,
or
not just
even
players.
during a match, I think if a referee is making bad decisions during the match, there should be like a TMO for the refs that looks at the refs' performance during the match. If they get them bad, they should get like a yellow or red, go off the
Exactly.
field, and the ref should replace them.
A replacement referee. So yeah, that's just a quick take, and then a bit of a debate as well, on a refereeing decision. But this is more from a player perspective. Scott Barrett getting that yellow card. that second yellow card turning into a red. My opinion, differing from yours, I think that second yellow could have actually been a red, and you could have had a few match ban. It's contact to the head with the shoulder, no mitigation, in a danger zone. So I think it could have been red from the start. But what do you think?
I think it's borderline between yellow and red at the end of the day, but I would keep it at yellow. And the reason was he was still going into the ruck, and that's not how you go into a ruck, obviously.
Mm.
But if you falling down into a ruck, you're naturally gonna accidentally hit a guy quite often.
Yeah,
So in that sense, it's kind of touch and go whether it's purpose not. And if you look, he goes down and then his arm swings into his head. So it's like it's kind of like with the motion his arm comes
Yeah.
with, but it's a tough decision. I mean, I wouldn't want to make the decision. Obviously, I would have
Yeah.
assisted him off for a yellow and just let the TMO decide.
I think in that game also refereeing was pretty decent. I was happy with it.
Yeah, I was also happy with the
I mean,
referee.
it did go a lot to our side, but yeah, wasn't bad overall. So we do have some good referees, and then there are some. I mean, South Africa always says the French referees, not to be offensive to them, but
Yeah,
but
and we're going there.
and we're going there. So yeah, definitely, I think there should be looked at consequences for refereeing as well, bad refereeing, because it does happen where you make a bad mistake, and then that will just then a referee shouldn't take that as a punishment, but just as a wake up call to think, okay, maybe I should sharpen up my game, look through my rules again, and come back and improve my own refereeing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or even get demoted into like say I do international rugby games, I should get demoted into doing more domestic
Yes,
or like national level rugby
and
matches.
then you
Like
build up like a credit score to get back up to your
yeah, like for
international.
example, I would do England South Africa game. I have a very bad performance,
Yeah,
very bad. I should then maybe do Stormers versus like Harlequins,
yeah,
and just let that cycle go. Referees should be punished. They shouldn't get away with as much as they do,
yeah.
and
And
then
we
there
shouldn't
needs
have
to
to
be
have
action.
we shouldn't have to have a Russie video coming out every now and then to make World Rugby get their referees into line every now and then. It
See,
should
the thing is, Rusty gets in trouble. We don't. We
exactly
just say whatever we want.
exactly. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed this. Also remember to join us on Super Brew for our Rugby World Cup predictions and also our Premier League predictions. The link will be below. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you. Not the most.